So I have seen a few comments where many of you are asking me what was my life before I started YouTube, which exactly 3 weeks today is makes my first post on here. And I've also gotten questions about how do I know so much and where do I get my knowledge. And let's start by who was I before YouTube. I'm still the same person. Okay, I'm still in the same situation, in the same environment. And I want to clarify something. Okay, my environment is my environment is heavy because it's with a narcissistic father and a very manipulative mom, and is due to their upbringing. Okay, and the conditioning was so hardwired into me, okay, that it took me this long to finally do something to break from that pattern and from that conditioning, from that programming. Okay, my life at home is chaotic, it is dense, okay, but I'm able to manage my life there. I try my best to not be reactive. I try my best to maintain a sense of awareness of not really engaging unless something really blows up, which happens. And I tend to react. But that is something that I avoid 99% of the time. I don't get into the arguments that are not, I just don't get into the arguments that they have. I avoid them. I go to my room or I go outside to the yard. But I manage in my environment, okay? I manage. It's just that I am aware that that is not the life I want anymore because I don't want to be inside a space that is so degrading and it doesn't serve me, okay? No one should have to put up with any type of abuse, and verbal abuse sometimes hurts more than even physical abuse, especially when you have been treated that way since you were born, technically. Because as far as I can remember, that has been my story. I was seeing a psychologist by the age of 5 because the teachers noticed that my behavior as a child was not the same as the other kids. I would walk around school with a fist and I didn't have any friends, and they noticed that that was not something that was typical in a child my age. So I was seeing a psychologist at the age of 5. So you can see how far back I have been struggling with this. And who I was before YouTube, I was very, very, let's go back to 2019 and beyond that. Well, all the way back, because 2019 and so forth, I was just existing, okay? At that time, at least I had my sister around. I would do things with my sister. I had more of a social life because my sister is a lot more outgoing than I was. I was more introverted. So my sister was more outspoken. She had friends. She would go out. So I would go out with her. We would do things, go places. And I was working, okay? I was working. And, but I was not really aware of my patterns, okay? I've always been a very aware child since I was very small. I have a sense of awareness that is beyond my years. And people have always come to me for advice, for guidance. And I'm talking about kids in my, in middle school, in high school, in college, and then even when I would work, I had people just come up to me asking me for advice, and they would just tell me the entire life story. And I was somehow really good at being able to help other people. Somehow really good at that. And I would question myself many times. I'm like, how can I be so good at helping other people, but I cannot help myself. And that was something that I will always think about. And in my comment section, I have seen several comments of many of you saying that my life experience and everything that I've gone through emotionally, okay, and my programming conditioning has led me here to this moment now, and it has allowed me to speak freely and open, because this is something that needs to be that needs to be said. We all have this ability of inner wisdom and inner knowledge. This is not exclusive to me. We all have this. What it takes, because what happened to me was that 2021 came, I had a meditation, I had an experience, and that changed everything. Everything that I already had as, I would say, a gift, like my awareness, my way of being able to interpret things and see things, understand them, process them, the way that I was able to tell separation and know what it was to feel separated. Like, I had this whole, like, I was just a fountain of information since a very young girl. And that was also something why I was so misunderstood, and I would always get insulted by my father, because he would mock me and laugh at me when I would say something or when I would think something. So 2019 Susie was just living. Not really living, existing. And she was aware, but not aware of herself. Not aware of the patterns, not aware of the conditioning. She was not aware of the people she was choosing to be around and who she would choose as a partner for relationships. She would just find herself with friends and relationships that were like, oh my God, this is just like my environment at home. But hey, this is what I deserve. This is normal. It's normal. It's normal for you to be suppressed from your emotions and not allowed to feel them. It's normal not to voice what you think. It's normal not to open up. It's normal not to be affectionate. It's normal to be treated this way. So I was unaware of myself and unaware of the patterns. I was just existing in life and thinking that that was normal and that was the way life was. In 2012, I started to meditate, and mind you, I did not know what I was doing. I was just meditating. I was just learning how to close my eyes, sit in a lotus position, and pay attention to my breath. And when thoughts would come in, I would go back into my breath and pay attention to how my chest moves with my breathing. And I started to learn how to do meditations, and I would do meditations on my own. I started from like 10 minutes into a half hour, and then one day I did an hour, and it was off and on in a journey like that until 2021. 2020 was the darkest year, and so was the beginning of 2021. One of the darkest years, okay? I was skin and bones. I was in a very, very bad space, okay? I was having moments of derealization, and I did not know what was real or not, because my depression was so bad and I was so numb that I didn't know what was going to be of me, okay? And one thing led to another, and I started to learn to how to meditate. And there's no proper way to learn how to meditate, but I started to learn the science behind meditation. I started to understand meditation. I started to understand emotions, and I started to understand how our brain works. And I started to understand how behaviors and reactions play out and how that's all based off your conditioning. I started to learn neuroplasticity. I started to learn about everything that had to do with the self, the mind and body connection, and how your body becomes the mind. Because there are so many times that my body will feel tense in just for whatever reason. There is this tension in my body, and it automatically triggers a thought, and I automatically start spiraling because the body produced the emotion first, and then my brain went into panic. So I've become very aware, too aware of my patterns and my behavior and my emotions. And once I started to meditate, and once I started to get to really know myself, because the key to all of this, I'm going to say right now, is to know yourself. Know thyself. You need to really start to know how you think, why you think this way, why you do this, why did you react that way, your thought process. What do you think when you wake up? What is the constant theme that runs through your head? You have to start to become so aware about yourself that you have to learn to then start to reprogram the emotion and the thought and transmute the emotion into a higher emotion, a higher elevated feeling. You have to start to become more at ease, right? So what I did was that meditation allowed me to feel my emotions and whatever emotion was stuck in my body. Okay, sometimes during meditation, this deep fear would show up. And I did not know what that fear was. I didn't know where it was coming from. And it would make me want to open my eyes because I felt so scared. But I learned to sit through it. And I would sit through it and it would slowly start to fade away. There were moments that I would be in meditation and I would start crying in my meditation. Don't know why I was crying, but there was an emotional feeling that came to me that made me feel this sense of sadness that I needed to cry. This is all inner work being done while you are in a state of meditation, because everything is releasing and showing up to you. It's showing itself to you. And you just got to sit with it, allow it, let it move through you. And you begin to get a more awareness, a higher state of consciousness, because now you become a lot more aware and you start to understand patterns and you start to understand the way things work with yourself. Because remember, this is about you. You're learning you. And when you start to learn about you, then you can start to learn about others. And I understand 1000% that my parents, their upbringing, is the reason why they raised me that way, because they did not know any better. Okay? They did not have the attention, affection, they did not have the love they needed. My mother was controlled, okay? My mom was controlled and manipulated, and my dad was just, I don't even know how to put it, but he was just abused as a kid, and nobody really cared about him or his brothers. Everybody was like out for themselves. So I understand, okay? I understand, and it's why I try to navigate the situation in my house as best I can. Just that the difference now is that I want to leave that environment because it doesn't serve me anymore. Okay? I don't deserve to live that way because that's not who I am. I am not that program. I'm not not them. I am me, and I know who I am, and I know who I should show myself up as. We have the train again. So what you need to understand from this is that in order for you to start making changes in your life, you have to really get to know yourself, okay? I'm gonna give you a little a little snippet of who I am, okay? And this is who I have been. It's just a lot more present in my real life since my experience in meditation in 2021, which I'll make a video just about that very soon, okay? I am a source of information. I am a fountain of information. There are times that I have a friend who is the friend that I would hang out with all the time, okay? Who is not allowed in my house anymore. He is the person that I would dump all of this information to all the time. I did not have another outlet source anywhere else to just let it out. If it wasn't to him, it was to myself in the shower. Okay? And what happened is that one day, about a month and a half ago, I was literally talking for like about 2 hours. It's just in a flow state of just expression that was coming through me. Very expansive. What happened is that I was in the shower, and this voice inside me told me, Susie, you have to open yourself so that people who are ready to receive the information can receive it. People who are ready to receive. Some people, the information falls on dead ears. So you need to find a way to open up yourself and allow people to receive the information. You'll have those who receive it, and you'll have those who will not receive it. But you're opening yourself up. And that's exactly what led me here. And I think that all my inner work, like you guys have pointed out, all of my inner work, everything that I have learned, everything that I've experienced, all the research I've done, all the understanding of myself and the brain, which also applies to all of us, because the brain works the exact same way for all of us. It's just that we all have different perspectives and emotions to work with, but the way that the brain works is the same. We just need to know ourselves so much deeper. We just really need to go in there and start to really dig in deep into who we really are and be ourselves. Not what society wants you to be, not what your parents want you to be, not what people think you should be, not what people think you should look like. You need to be yourself, how you are, in your purest form, because that is your power. Okay? I know that where I am right now, okay, the situation that I live in doesn't serve me. It served me until the other day. But it's not serving me anymore, because that is not who I am. And I've been knowing that's not who I am. So you need to get to the point where you just realize, who are you really? And open up to who you are and start to learn about yourself. Start to realize your power. Start to realize how important you are and how you have a gift too to share with the world, because we are the ones that are here to change the world. Our unique perspective and experience is what causes a ripple. And it causes this ripple that just expands collectively. And people will also want to know more and dive into their own truth. And when you are in your own truth and you come out in your own truth, that is your superpower. And that is a collective change. No longer being controlled by society, no longer being controlled by the narrative, no longer being controlled by the conditioning of program, no longer being a part of a system that has told us to be limited and to believe that the life that we're living is a life that we're meant to live, because that's the way life goes. I believed, or I was taught to believe, that at a certain age you have to be married with a kid. And that is what life is all about. And it's not. Clearly it's not. And I know that it's not. We need to break away from the beliefs that are keeping us in a box and limiting ourselves from being our true selves. We need to break free. We need to be who we are. And we need to know who we are by the art of knowing ourselves and taking the time to go within and really work with our emotions, our thought process, our programming, and becoming so aware of it that you are powerful enough to override it. And that is what I've been doing since 2021, and I'm still doing that today. The day that I came here to record for the first time, I told myself I gave myself excuses to not show up, okay? I was laying in my bed, and I know I mentioned this in one of my videos. I was laying in my bed and I was not going to show up. I was giving myself all the excuses, and I told myself, hey, I'll just go tomorrow. You know what I did? I took the action of a meditative state. I got up out of my bed. I let the thoughts run through my mind. I breathed through my thoughts. I got dressed. I got everything that I needed. My phone, my tripod, my water, which I left that day at home. And I showed up to the park and I filmed my first video. And I did that all in a meditative state. I didn't allow myself to engage with the thoughts that were holding me back from showing up here. So I truly believe that every single one of you who have told me that my path has led me here, you're absolutely right. Because yesterday I was reflecting and I was thinking of my meditation experience in 2021, and I felt a connection from with that meditation to the moment now. And this is where I'm meant to be. This is what I am meant to do. You need to connect the dots. You need to connect the dots, and it starts by knowing yourself. It starts by knowing yourself. Today, I wasn't even sure what I was going to talk about. Today, I was confused, and I even felt a sense of, I don't know, I felt almost blank. Like, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know I don't know how I'm going to be able to explain myself. And I've told myself, I'm like, let it just flow through you. Let it flow through you like everything always flows through you. Because somehow it will come to you. And here I am. Here I am. And the most important message I can give you is that to change your life, you got to know yourself. And then you have to not want the life you have anymore. And change it. And change it. So after this conversation today, let me know, are you going to search for who you are within yourself? Are you going to allow yourself to open up to yourself so you can find the person that you already know you are? You just have not met that person yet, because it exists inside you. It is there. Let me know if you're open to who you are. Let me know if you're open to expand more consciously and become more aware of who you are. And if you are, let me know these aspects of yourself that make you who you are. Let's talk about that in the comments. Let's talk about who we really are, who we know, what our truth is. Let me know in the comments below. I will see you really soon. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all of you. I believe by the time that I have filmed this video, I think I have now 5,000 subscribers, and that is mind-blowing. So I just want to say thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys so deeply. I am so grateful for every single one of you. And I will see you really soon.